What the CEO needs you to know is the name of the event. Ram Shriram, he coined the phrase, and he's a leadership pioneer that's worked with thousands of CEOs all around the world as both a lecturer and also a mentor. And what we'll be doing today is using the topics that we're actually sharing to be able to identify how we link with business, sales and customer acumen. Okay, so acumen, very interesting word, acumen. The dictionary defines acumen as keen insight or mental acuteness. What's interesting though is that there's so many different forms of acumen. So there's business acumen, there's customer acumen, sales acumen. There's also technology acumen, financial acumen, commercial acumen, social acumen, technical acumen. So you've got all these different elements, and what that really identifies is that there's a strong need to be able to customise the concept of acumen within the customer context. And we do a lot of work around that particular topic because it's the combination of content and context that actually brings it to life. So
it's really exciting for me today to be able to introduce both Harsha and Rob. Harsha having 13 years at Cisco and experience in many senior roles in Cisco, currently Director of Commercial Sales, Leadership, Strategy and Business Operations for Cisco's National Sales Organisation in Australia. Rob, recently appointed as Head of Talent and Capability at Boral. Prior to that, Rob was General Manager of People and Culture at WestTrac for 6 years and has held other senior HR roles. So we are really excited to have you both here today sharing your thoughts on business and commercial and sales acumen for us today.
So let's kick off. What did the CEO need the team to know? What was the capability need the business was looking to address with its acumen investment? So maybe worth also providing a bit of context, Harsha. What was the investment? Sure. What did it look like, etc., so we could just get a bit of a sense of how you've applied acumen. Thanks, Harsha.
Yeah, we have a sales organisation amidst many other organisations that represent various go-to-markets and how we approach and engage the various segments of business, both customers and the broad product portfolio that we bring to market. So a lot of the technologies that we position in market are very commonly used by many of us, including sort of fundamental networking technology, security, collaboration, and observability. And we moved from being a hardware organization very much in terms of product capability and technology, very hardware centric, to today where more than half of our business is software and services. And if you think about that, that's quite a fundamental shift in the nature of our business. And as a result of that, a very fundamental shift in how we take that proposition and our business to our customers, and how we better understand our customers became survival as opposed to thrive. It became a necessity for us to kind of transform our go-to-market and our sales organizations globally. And that's really where our investment in the programs we ran in partnership with Lighthouse came into effect, because we needed to take our sales organization along a journey of changing their language.
So Vic Bansal started as new CEO in November last year. There was a change of ownership with the Seven Group acquiring it probably 12 months before then, and some new expectations were set in terms of performance for the business. And part of that was a new operating model. And he's very keen on a decentralised operating model, but within a standardised framework. And that's underpinned by a belief that you get the best results, best decision-making processes, best speed to customer response, best customer service when decision authority is closer to the markets that you're operating in. And so if Vic's looking to improve decision-making, quality decision-making, and decentralise that, you've got to equip people with the skills to do that. So it was a pretty urgent sort of requirement. And for us, the CASH program was then about equipping our people with those commercial and financial skills to improve the quality of decision-making, generate better results through good insight.
So the question that I have for you is around the business impact that you were looking to create through this investment. Specifically, I suppose, the commercial outcomes on performance, what were you hoping to change specifically as a result of this investment, and perhaps what has changed as a result of that investment?
I think the underlying metric of success, however, remains pretty objective in our sales and business development group. So fundamentally, the fact that we rolled this out to a number of our sales organizations was to ensure that there would be really two metrics of business outcome. The first one was we wanted to see a greater improvement in our customer for life, which I mentioned briefly before. So the way we measure that is through customer retention and customer satisfaction through many of the very common tools that we use to measure satisfaction and retention. So one of the objectives we wanted to do is we've been in the business in Australia for 20 plus years, so we have a fairly long-standing relationship. We're in a very fortunate position with a lot of great market share in many of our technology categories. But we realized there was a need to kind of build on that, particularly from an adoption and life cycle perspective. So one of the measurements that we were aspiring to, and I think are really getting towards, is greater adoption of our technology. So moving away from just the purchase or the procurement of the technology and its implementation, but its true value realization and adoption. So that was absolutely a key outcome of this.
And really, you can only do that, everyone understands that. You can only do that when your people understand and interrogate that data and understand the interdependencies between those drivers, and develop judgment around what they're seeing in terms of the numbers and which levers they need to pull. And then the final thing was really forecasting accuracy. So unfortunately we'd probably missed our market guidance on more than one occasion prior to Vic starting, and we really saw this as being a key enabler of building up from the bottom people's understanding of how critical forecasting was, but the things that give them the skills to be able to do, and get them to start thinking, not of reporting as telling people why things are the way they are, but hey, this might have happened, but we're onto it, we know what's driving it, and here's what we're going to do about it. So really moving the organisation into that proactive, action-orientated mindset and behaviour.
At the enterprise level, what were those sort of higher level outcomes, or what are you aspiring to? You've started this program. What would you like to see occur, and what impact does this program have? Yours is an enterprise program. I think, Harsha, you may have other groups that you influence with your program. So just interested in what sort of enterprise impact you're looking to try and achieve.
Well, I think culturally, we're certainly looking to make a change in terms of the expectations of leaders and therefore the performance of our broader leadership group. I think one of the really interesting and important parts of this program is, like with so many learning and development initiatives, you really need to anchor things into the management processes of the business. So that's one of the real strengths we've had, is that when Vic came in, he established this PMAF framework, so people, environment, markets, assets, financial results, and we use an MBR, a monthly business review, to look at each aspect of that part of the business.
So typically the sales organizations that I lead, maybe a few hundred strong, but the real interdependencies of those silos that we describe is so strong in our business, as I'm sure they are in many, that how do we kind of make sure that we understand how each of those functions can relate to a customer acumen dialogue and conversation? That was the illumination. And I think that was really the aspiration, was, can we really create a framework, and I think to Rob's point, embed some framework that allows us to have common language across different forms of the sales and specialist organizations within our business.
Keen to understand, what the value you believe that participants have gained, particularly from the sharing and working with each other during the program. That's kind of the first part. The second part of the question is around how you've endeavoured to embed these sort of team learning experiences into daily organisational habit.
I think people were really appreciative of the fact that there'd been quite a bit of anxiety and tension in the organisation when Vic introduced this new operating model. And sometimes you need that to drive change within an organisation. But I think it can become debilitating if people aren't supported with the skills and tools to take up that challenge.
And I think, again, also to Rob's point, it's also changing the leadership mindset. So the kind of questions and the status quo kind of disruption mindset that we have in our leaders has also changed, because they're now using this as a way to measure performance of a customer engagement or a team member. And that's dovetailing into a broader change agenda in the company too. One of the things that I think I found particularly useful, I know the team found particularly useful, was, again, similar to Rob, we picked a customer by 5 or 6 customers, for example, that we would look to build, Acumen around, and the teams would then present that back to each other. So what you got is this lovely sort of osmosis of how each team that went through the same content interpreted that content and how they customized it and contextualized it for that particular customer.
Interesting.
And I think you can never underestimate, obviously, the osmosis aspect of everyone being in the room.
We really, it's all really about the Boral and Cisco case studies, but would appreciate just a couple of words about partnering with Lighthouse on the program. Just anything you'd like to share with us would be valued.
Yeah, so from our perspective, it's been really positive. I think clearly the CAFS program is a core program, but we were able to customise it. And I thought the way that you and Brian actually came in, interviewed a cross-section of leaders who were going to be participating in it to understand, where they were coming from, what their issues were, concerns. That allowed the customisation of the program, I think, to the right level. I think speed of response has been really good as well. We started engaging with you, Mark, I think end of August. And by the middle of December, we'd put 150 people through 7 courses in just about every state. So, I thought that worked really well as well.
I think another piece that really came out strong was consistency, because we obviously did run it across states and across teams. And when you're doing a cultural transformation like we are, making sure that the language stayed consistent, and similar to Rob, the inclusion of executive sponsors from our organization, I think, ensured that there was a little more continued embedded commitment to the program, and in particular the way in which it was kind of constructed, where everybody was in the one room for a day, and then there was a day of presentations and readouts thereafter, was kind of left interaction levels high, and insight and learning pretty high too.